Okay, so like I put on the email, yesterday it was fast. So right now we are going to take a look at set up your environment because it's something um, relevant and important to start as developer. So Kevin gonna provide a quick introduction about it by starting with the challenge zero. And yeah, why now we're gonna be okay with this thing, with your environment, and it's important for starting. Yeah. So I think Kevin, we can start, and people will still join, and yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Oh, by the way, can I get sharing rights too so I can share my screen? It
Uh,
says that
yeah,
sharing is disabled.
yeah, yeah. Is it okay right now?
Yep, there we go. That works. Okay, cool. Great. Thank you so much, Celine. Great to see everybody here. Some familiar faces and some new ones. My name is Kevin Jones. I work as a developer relations engineer for the Graph protocol. So focused on like blockchain data and like teaching people about how to build subgraphs. We're going to be doing that on Thursday. But I also work with the Build Guild. I work with Austin and the team to do education workshops. And yeah, excited to teach you guys today. We're going to try to go a little bit slower probably than what you did yesterday. And we're going to start out first, we're going to go over and actually run through challenge zero of the speedrun Ethereum. So literally going to just do it in like kind of real time so you guys can see that. And then you guys can ask questions as I go. And then we're going to spend the rest of the session just talking a little bit about Solidity and a little bit about writing smart contracts. And we'll actually try to build a smart contract too if we have time, and then deploy that smart contract just locally. So if you have questions, feel free to interrupt me. Feel free to raise your hand. I'll try to keep an eye on that. If someone has a question, Celine, just let me know if I don't see it. But yeah, this is interactive. Let's just make it the best it can be for you guys. So I want to make sure we don't lose you in any of this, right? Like the whole point of us all coming together is to teach and to learn from each other. So please interrupt me if you have questions, okay? So let's go ahead and share my screen and let's just kind of get started. So um, hopefully, I think some of you guys have actually gone ahead and did the challenge already for Speedrun Ethereum for the very, very first one. But if not, we're going to go over it. Yesterday, I think you got like a very brief introduction to like Scaffold ETH, and Austin probably showed you how to build and deploy a contract, and then he kind of gave you this homework to actually try to deploy a smart contract yourself. So we're going to do that now. So speedrunethereum.com is the platform for that. When you first go there, you should connect your wallet. So you click up here and say connect wallet, and you can choose Wallet Connect if you have like Rainbow Wallet on your phone, or you can use MetaMask, which is probably what I would recommend. And it's going to ask you when you first set up if you want to register as a builder. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do that. It's a cool little punk rock guy there. We're going to register him and then go ahead and sign. So that kind of like creates you just a profile. This is what you're going to want to send Salim to basically track your progress. You can click your portfolio, it will give you the URL for your portfolio. But we're just going to start building. So if we come down here and we go to this first challenge, it's the NFT challenge. It's the easiest of all the challenges because you don't actually have to write any code, right? We literally can just do it pretty easily by just following the instructions in the commands. It does kind of explain things to you, and it does walk you through like what a wallet is and what an NFT is, and it actually shows you how to mint them and stuff like that. But you don't need to write any code, which is pretty easy, right? So we're going to just kind of go down here and we're going to set up the environment. I'm sure Austin probably talked about this already, but you need Node.js installed on your machine. So if you don't have it, install that. You need Yarn Package Manager. If you are running like Linux, just make sure you update Yarn Package Manager so you have the newest version, or install the newest version if you can. And then you need a copy of Git, right? So most computers come now with Git already installed, so you don't really need to do anything there. So all of the challenges are basically in this GitHub repo called SE2 challenges, and they are basically special branches. So if you're familiar with Git, the way it works is, you have like a base branch, and then you can have sub branches. And so each challenge is a branch underneath this main kind of GitHub repo. So the first thing you want to do is actually check out the GitHub repo into a special folder, in this case, challenge 0 simple NFT. Go into that folder and then check out the branch that we're going to be deploying. Okay. So in this case, we're going to do challenge 0 simple NFT, and we're going to install the dependencies with yarn install. So let's go ahead and come over here. I've actually already did that. So I did a git clone. Sorry, I did a git clone on the repository. And then I did a git checkout on this challenge 0 simple NFT. So if I go into that challenge 0 and do git branch, it will tell me what branch I'm on. So again, the main branch is like what you first check out. And then if you need to check out this simple NFT using git checkout, which will give you this branch. And then all you need to do is do yarn install. And what that will do is install all the dependencies for you, right? So it is a yarn package. So the benefit there is it will install everything you need to get up and running, right? Okay. So once you have that done, it's pretty much the same process for like any of the challenges. You have to spin up a chain, and then you have to deploy your smart contract in a new window, and then you have to spin up your front end. So it's kind of like scaffold ETH, as Austin showed last time, is you need 3 windows up all the time. One is for your chain, one is for your deployments, and one is for your front end, right? For React and Next.js. So you can do that a couple different ways. You can either just open up new terminal windows. So you have 3 different terminal windows open. And that's one way you can do it. You can also open like tabs. So if you're using like a Mac, you can open up a new tab up here on the top. For me, what I like to use is a tool called Tmux, Tmux. And what it does is it allows you to split up your screen on one terminal session. And it's going to make it easy for you guys to see. So I'm going to use that. So I'm going to do Control B and split up my screen here. And I'm just going to make a few different screens. Okay. So this way you guys can kind of see what's going on without, a lot of clutter. So, sorry, challenge 0. And then I'm going to go into the same challenge here as well. So basically each one of these windows has the same project open, right? So here, here, and here, all right? So let's do that. Let's do yarn chain to spin up our blockchain, which is in this case, hard hat, right? And then let's come over here and do yarn start in the second window. So chain is going to bring up your block, your back end. Start is going to spin up your front end. And then in this next window, you do your deploys. So yarn deploy and hit enter. So that's going to take the smart contract that comes with scaffold ETH, and it comes with this branch, and it's going to deploy it. And that's how we see this kind of like output that we see and stuff like that. And we can look at the code if we want to and see what it looks like. So we can look at the package and we can look at the contract here. He probably showed this to you yesterday. You have 2 folders, right? You have your hard hat folder, which is where all your smart contract stuff is. And then you have your Next.js folder, which is your front end. Inside the hard hat folder, there's a contracts folder, and then there's your collectible, okay? So this is an ERC 721 smart contract. So again, you don't need to edit anything. Everything is already kind of written for you, but you can look at it and see what it does. It's just a very basic ERC 721, which is NFT with a name called your collectible and a symbol of YCB. And it has like a string for the URI, and it has an option to mint items and transfer and burn and all this kind of detailed stuff. And it utilizes, I think this is probably valuable to know, is it utilizes all of the Open Zeppelin standard contracts. So basically, anytime you're writing a contract, if Open Zeppelin's already written some components, it's good to just reuse those. And so we can reuse ERC 721 and some other extensions for enumerable and for storage. And we also can use ownable, which is an access control content. And we can also use the counters, which allows you to count and increment automatically on your NFT versions or instance. And so this is already written for you, but that's where you go to get it. And then right below is your deploy script. So if you want to ever look and see how it's deployed, I'm sure Austin also showed this probably yesterday a little bit, but this is our deploy script. And so, yeah, we don't need to get in there, but let's just see if we were able to get access to it first. So let's go to localhost 3000, right? And let's see if we can look at the NFTs. So the first time you load it up, it has to basically like compile the project, and then it should load up here in a second. There it goes. Okay, cool. So it's up and running. So we have it here. But if we go to my NFTs, we don't have any NFTs, and we're also doing this all on local. So we're just using our local host, and we're using Hard Hat. But I should be able to say get some funds from the faucet right here, and I should be able to mint an NFT. And there it goes. And then it might just take a sec for me to see if that NFT appears, and there it is. So it's working pretty much. Everything's working locally. I can mint another one if I want. And then now I'll have two. These are kind of just these little random images. By the way, Austin drew these, so they're pretty cool. And so I should be able to open up a new incognito window and go to the same address. And I should be able to get my address here, go to my NFTs, get my address, and then maybe I could send the zebra over here to this address. Let's see if it works. There it goes. So I was able to transfer, this NFT to this one, and it's working. So that's kind of like what you want to do is when you start building is like have some personas set up and you can kind of test the transfers. But anyways, you don't need to do anything crazy. This is up and running and it's working. Okay. So what does it want us to do next? So it wanted us to install the dependencies. It wanted us to do the chain, do the deploy, and then start our front end. And then it just kind of like walks you through about how wallets work. It walks you through about how gas works a little bit. It walks you through about the burner wallet, which Austin showed off, which is this kind of cool burner wallet that's inside of our browser, right? And it also tells you how to mint an NFT and how to get money from the faucet and how to mint an NFT here. So we just minted a few. So we kind of, you're just basically just experimenting and toying around with the dApp. And then it tells you now what we want to do is we want to take this and we need to deploy it somewhere publicly. So we need to deploy it to a public test net. And we also need to deploy our front end to Vercel. So we need, it's two parts, right? The back end and the front end. So in order to deploy our contract to a test net like Sepolia or base Sepolia, it might be an example as well, we need to generate what's called a deployer account. And so the reason why we want to do that is we don't want to use the private keys that come with Hard Hat, because these private keys that come with Hard Hat are all shared. Everyone has the same private keys. You guys all have the same one on your laptop as I do. And so if you're going to try to deploy something to a test net or mainnet, obviously someone could just take those funds and steal them. So because it's a public test net, we need to generate a deployer, okay? So the first thing it's going to tell you to do is to generate a deployer, at least it should be, yeah. So yarn generate. So if I come over here onto my terminal and do yarn generate, what it does is it generates a private and public key, and then it stores it locally inside of this environment variable, okay? So there's packages hard hat, and then there's a .env file, and it stores the private key. So you don't want to give that to anyone, right? That's your private key, it's private. And then it will show you what the public key is. So it gives you the public key here. And now we can fund that account with some basically testnet ether, okay? Because if we do yarn account and show what the balance is on it, it's basically 0, 0, 0, 0, because it's a brand new key, right? And we get this nice little, you see here, we got this nice little QR code when I did yarn account, which is really cool because we can actually just fund it from like our phone. So like I have my phone here. So I can actually send some ETH from my wallet on my phone just to there. So let me load it up. I'm going to load up my Punk wallet. So I'm going to go here. And then my Punk wallet has the ability to scan. So you can see this maybe. I'm allowing my camera, and then I have my camera, and now I can scan this QR code and I can send some ETH from my phone to here. So let's do that. Let's send, I don't know, 0.01 ETH. Send. Okay. So I just sent that ETH. So let's see if it came through or how quickly it comes through. So I'm going to do yarn account again. And not yet. I just sent Sepolia ETH. You could also bridge it to like base Sepolia. There we go. Okay. So see here now that I have a balance of 0.01 ETH. Okay. So I have some funds in my wallet, in my deployer wallet now. Okay. So the next thing I need to do is take this contract and deploy it to that testnet. Okay. So there's two ways to do it. The first way you can do it is you can edit the hard hat configuration file and point it at the network you want to deploy to, or you can just pass it in the deploy script. So, we've been doing yarn deploy like this. Well, you can do a dash dash network and you can say which network that you want to deploy to. But just for the sake of thoroughness, I'm going to show you guys where you go to edit the config file. So if we go to our packages and our hard hat folder here, and we go to the hard hat config right here, we have a list of all of the networks that we support here. So if you wanted to deploy it to base Sepolia, then there would be there's Arbitrum Sepolia, and then base Sepolia is right here as well. But in this case, we're just going to use Sepolia. So it's right here, Sepolia. And so what we can do is say right here, what is the default network? And we can change this from localhost to Sepolia like this, like that. So I'll hit save. And then now I'll do my deploy again, right? But this time we don't need to do any network or anything like that. But we're going to do a yarn deploy and hit enter. So this is going to just know now that, hey, we want to deploy it to, what happened? Insufficient funds. Okay, so 0.01 ETH was not enough. Okay, so I need to send some more. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to send, I don't know, 0.1, I guess. Let's try that. So I'm just sending more. And there it goes. Let's see if that came through. Oh, try it one more time. So an NFT is kind of a big contract. So there's a lot of bytecode there. And so we're basically trying to deploy a pretty large contract. So I don't know why it's not updating. It's the network's very slow right now. It's still pending. Okay, well, while that's doing that, we'll give it 1 second. And we'll come back to that in a second. Okay, so what's it going to ask us to do next? So it's going to ask us to deploy to Sepolia, and then it walks you through about how to create a account, how to generate a wallet, how to look at the accounts, and then how to deploy. So again, you can edit the default network in hard hat config TS. And then the next thing is to ship our front end. So then we need to ship our front end. So we'll get to there in a second, but let's try the balance one more time. So yarn account. Oh my gosh, this is so slow. Let me try to speed it up. I'll try to send some more ETH actually too. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. Okay, that worked. Okay, so we were able to send it. So now I have 0.11 ETH. So now let's try that deploy again. So this time, maybe we'll have enough funds, hopefully. By the way, if anyone needs funds, wow, really? Still need insufficient funds. Okay, let me just send some more. I didn't realize this was going to take so much. So let's try just sending. Luckily, I have a lot of funds in here. So let's do 0.5. Okay, send, speed up. Try one more time. Do, 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 do. I guess the testnet is very busy right now, which is funny. Okay, it's still going. Okay, we'll come back to that. So just having to fund it some more. But anyways, what I was saying is if you guys need testnet funds, just let Celine know or me, and I can try to get you guys some funds if you just send your wallet address. Okay, so the next thing that we'll have to do after we deploy our smart contract using Hard Hat is we'll also need to update our front end. So just like there's a hard hat config in this hard hat folder, there's also a scaffold config, which is for our front end. So if we come down here, it's called scaffold config.ts, and it has a target networks function that allows us to update what the default network is. So in this case, we also want to change this to Sepolia because we're no longer using hard hat when we deploy our contract to Sepolia, right? We're using Sepolia. So we can just type that in. The cool thing is if you just hit dot, it will tell you all the networks that are available. So in this case, there's a ton of networks that are supported. But again, we're just going to use Sepolia. But if it was base Sepolia, it would be base Sepolia. Okay, now let's try to deploy one more time. Let's see what the balance is. If this doesn't work, then I'm going to have to take out a loan. Okay, there we go. Now we have half of an ETH. Okay, let's see if that's going to take that much. Okay, now let's do yarn deploy. 0.61. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. That is very, very crazy. I can't believe that it's so expensive to deploy this contract. I'm just gonna send one ETH. Let's just try it. Sure. Okay, now I'm sending more. Hopefully it's using the right deployer account. Okay. All right, we'll give that a second. So now I should have 1.61. Okay. Now we have more ETH. Let's try it one more time. We're just gonna keep sending ETH here, and hopefully it deploys. There it goes. Woohoo! All right. That was crazy. That's a lot. That means the test network is like really, really, really busy right now. So if I was to do that on base Sepolia, it would probably be a lot cheaper. So, but whatever. It's all good. It's all good. They must be testing the limits of base of Sepolia right now. Okay, so it was successful. So you'll know it's successful when we get this deployed with blah, blah, blah gas. So in this case, it was 1.7 million gas. So that's why it costs so much. So if we do Yarn account now, we can see how much it cost us. So it was 1.61. So that's weird. Okay, so it cost about half of an ETH. So I guess right when I finally sent it, it finally went through. Maybe the gas price is lowered or something like that. So I still have a balance of one ETH, but we can get that out later if we wanted to, but it's just test ETH, so whatever, we can just throw it away. But now it was deployed successfully. So we've deployed our contract there. So we should be able to grab the address here and then look on base Sepolia if it's there. So I'm sorry, on Sepolia Etherscan. So let's do sepolia.etherscan.io and let's paste that address for the contract that we just deployed. And let's see if it shows up, which it should. There it is. And it's here. It's been created a minute ago. And then we can also look here at the contract, and you see how it has this little green checkbox. That means that the contract is verified already. I didn't verify the contract because it automatically verified it because this exact contract has already been deployed before in the past. So if you did want to verify the contract, then you could do that manually with the command. And you should do that because it's just kind of best practice. And what that will do is it will basically give people the ability to see the source code here and to show that this source code that was submitted matches the bytecode. And I'm going to get to that in just a little bit. We're going to talk about that. But essentially, you want to verify your contract. If you, for some reason, did not have a green check mark here and you want to verify it, you can do that by doing yarn verify -- network Sepolia like this, and it will try to verify the contract automatically. So you can see here it's already verified and it was successful. So it skipped the verification process. But it's good to know that that's how you verify your contract, and there's a command for that. Okay, so now let's go back to Scaffold ETH and let's take a look at here. So you'll notice that now on Scaffold ETH, we got kicked out of our burner wallet. So we used to have this burner wallet up here in the corner, but that's gone now. And that's because there's a configuration inside of Scaffold ETH that if you deploy to a testnet or configure it to a testnet, it won't allow you to use burner wallets anymore. You can turn that on and off, but just so you know, that's why you get kicked out. So now we can actually connect with MetaMask, or we could connect to Rainbow Wallet or a Ledger wallet if we wanted to, but let's just do MetaMask. And let's go ahead and say next and connect. And here we go. And just going to also give you a cool warning and showing you that you're on the network. So we need to put it on Sepolia. So we can switch that. There we go. And so now I can go to my NFTs. And so now this app is on Sepolia. The smart contract is on Sepolia, and we're using a connected wallet through MetaMask, but I don't have any funds here. So I probably need to send some funds. So let's send some more funds. In this case, I'm going to just scan it again. And let's do that. And I'll just send, this time I'll send 0.0. I'll just send more ETH because I don't want to have to keep doing it over and over again. Okay, so I just sent some ETH here. Let's see if it shows up here in a second. So I'm sending again some ETH just to this wallet here. It should show up here. There we go. So now 0.1 ETH. So now I should be able to mint an NFT. Let's see if it works. It's going to ask me to sign the transaction. I don't have enough supply. All right, that's the theme of today is I'm broke. Okay, let's just set a little bit more ETH. 0.5 ETH. Okay. Let's try it again. The gas prices are just crazy. Okay, 0.6 ETH. Okay, now let's try to mint one. There we go. Now I have enough. Woohoo! It's going to cost me $179 to mint this buffalo. That's crazy. Okay, this is why you use a layer 2 like a base. It's way cheaper. Mainnet is just crazy right now. That's specifically on this testnet, but still, that just shows you why you need to use layer 2s. Okay, so we just minted an NFT. And it should show up in our, obviously it's a little slower because we're using a testnet. Cool, it's $180 Buffalo, testnet Buffalo. I will send this to atg.eth. I'm going to send it to Austin. There we go. And we pay for the gas to send it to him. And there we go. Cool. All right, I just sent him a Buffalo. So his Buffalo that he drew. Okay. Cool. So this is good. We have the front end working. It's working. I was able to mint an NFT. Now I need to take my front end and deploy it to the testnet or to the Vercel. So the reason why we need to do that is because inside of Speedrun Ethereum, when you're all done and you're ready to submit your challenge, you need to provide the deployment URL in Vercel and you need to deploy the contract URL. So let's do that. So it's really easy. All you do is yarn Vercel, YOLO -- prod. So the command is in there. Oh, I think that's the right one. Maybe it's not. Let's see. Yarn Vercel -- prod. Okay. Yarn Vercel -- prod. Okay. So now that's going to take the front end and it's going to deploy it to Vercel. Now, if it's your first time doing this, you need to connect Vercel to your IDE or to your terminal. So you'll need to log into Vercel, but you only need to do that once. So I've already done that. So I'm going to say, do you want to set up and deploy? Yes. Which project do you want to deploy it to? Kevin Jones Creates. Do you want to link it to the existing project? No. I'm just going to create a new one. No. What is the name? I'm going to call it the challenge 0. Where is it located? It's in this root directory, and now it's going to take it and upload it. Do you want to modify any settings? No. This is all in the docs, so it's going to walk you through that. But basically what you're doing is you're taking your front end, it's packaging it up as a production application, and then it's sending it to Vercel. So then you're going to have this custom URL right here, which is your URL for the application. So I should be able to come here and go to that. You'll need to log into Vercel to get that to show up properly so that you can see it. So we can, oh man, I recently restarted my computer. So let's see if I can do it. Log in with email, no, GitHub. Let's try that. Okay, I need to log in real quick. Let me do that. So the reason I'm showing you guys this is you do need to go in here and you need to make the application publicly viewable, because by default Vercel now basically makes it so that it's not a public repo. So you need to change one quick setting. So I just want to show that to you guys here. So I'm using two-factor authentication. Da, 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 da. Where's that? Okay, here we go. 282298. See if this works. Ah, great. Okay, now I need to log in with a different email address. Let's try this. The demo gods are not in my favor today. Okay, we're almost there. Hold on. Okay, so the code is 394,840. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. So it's still building right now. But basically what we're doing is we're deploying our front end. So we've already deployed our smart contract here. We have the URL for it here. And so we can use this as the first thing that we need to submit. So we can say, okay, submit challenge, put the Etherscan address here. So it's the Etherscan URL with the address that you deployed to at the end, like this, okay? And then the last one is going to be this URL here. Now, if we try to submit it like this, it might fail. Let's see if it lets us do it. Submit. It's going to ask us to sign a transaction. Let's see if it worked. So it's submitted. It might fail. Let's see. It automatically grades it too. So the first couple challenges get automatically graded. There it goes. It accepted it. So, but you actually should come into Vercel and you should make this a publicly available URL, because if I was to give you guys this right now, you wouldn't be able to see it. And so if you go to, let's see, integrations, no. Let's see, overview, domains. Oh man, this is like the worst. Let's see here. Challenge 0, here we go. So if I go to challenge 0, and then I go to, where I go to do this? I always forget where it is. Settings. Let's see. Integrations, deployment protection. There we go. So we can turn this off right here. So if you go to your projects, go to the challenge 0 that you create, go to Vercel authentication, and then turn that off. The reason why is because as you go further down into the challenges, they'll actually need to be graded by someone. So someone will actually need to see your thing. And so there's going to be a chance they're not going to be able to see it if that's on. So just go ahead and save that. So now I would be able to give this URL to you guys, and then you guys could go mint a $200 Buffalo if you wanted to. Okay, so that's a very brief run through of that. So I just want to pause for a second and see if anyone has questions about that process. That took a little longer than I hoped, but I think it's good that we actually went through it and did it. Any questions? Was that pretty straightforward? I think there might be some questions here.
It was really great. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Did I miss questions in here? Let's see.
A lot of questions, but
You
we
able to answer
answered
them all?
some of them, so I think it's okay.
Wow, you guys are very active in chat. I love that. Love that about you guys. You
Yes.
guys are awesome. Okay, cool. Any questions before I keep going? Do the next challenges get more difficult? That's a great question. Well, that's a very easy challenge, right? You literally just like type commands and it tells you what to type. I would say yes. The next challenges are a little more difficult. Let me share my screen again. Let's see. So if you go to Speedrun Ethereum and we go to hide those and go to the second one. So the next one teaches about staking. So it's the concept of like you have some ETH or some tokens. You want to stake them into the contract and then get some funding back later as like kind of like a a residual, right? So it's kind of like this concept of like interest and like how you pay out inflation through staking and incentivized staking. So it kind of teaches you. So you do have to write some code for that one. And then the next one is a token vendor, which is this concept of like swaps. So like, let's say you want to deposit ETH, and you want to get back, bubblegum token or something. In this case, I just said there's a bubblegum machine there. It's this concept of like sending some value and getting something back in return in token way. So these do get a little harder, but what I would say is that there are Telegram chats for each challenge. Go in there, say, hey, I'm having a specific problem. I can't get this done. I can't figure this out. And they will help you. There's tons of people in there. We have developers specifically, that's their job. And I will try to keep a monitor on that for you guys as well. And if you guys are still stuck, my Telegram is Kevin Jones Creates. So feel free to shoot me a message and I'll try to help you. Okay.
A question in the chat about can we use a base yeah.